Welcome to episode 26. A discussion that nobody, including us, likes to have or wants to have, but a conversation that is needed. Matt, I think you have a couple words that you've been holding on to and alluding to.
Yeah, I have a lot of words. I just don't know how to get them out. Dave and I have been sitting here for like 3 hours now,
Yeah.
trying to work up. We've been trying to put this conversation off because it's a very difficult topic to discuss.
Yep.
And it's one that I've wanted to have. We've done a lot of off-season episodes here about non-Eagles related stuff. Because we think they're important to talk about.
Mm.
And this is not any different. We want to have a discussion today about domestic violence.
Mm.
It's an issue that is close to our hearts because we've been through it ourselves.
Yep.
We've dealt with it in our professional lives. We've dealt with it in our personal lives. And I think most people have had some sort of interaction with it at some point in their lives.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start by telling our own story here.
Mm.
Our parents got divorced when I was just before my 12th birthday. So you would have been around 7.
Mm.
So you probably don't remember
Yeah.
a lot of the
I know
stuff
bits
that
and
went down.
pieces, but not of the fine details like you would because you're just older and
Yeah.
could
So
understand.
so we've had our dad Dale on the show, as some of you might know. He's a guy that it was a fun episode. Um, he's a fun guy now. He has mellowed out in his old age, and I think loneliness has probably played a
Yeah,
big part in that.
agreed.
Because when we were growing up, he was not like this at all. Um, he was a bartender at his firehouse bar up until my preteen, early teen years. So most of my life up until that point, he would bartend on Fridays and Saturday nights. And after the bar closed, if it ever did, uh, he would stay behind and get drunk with his buddies. And he would come home, and Donna, our mom, would be rightfully upset. He's 30 some years old. His kids at home. He's got responsibilities. He shouldn't be out there drinking all night and driving home shit faced. And they would get in fights, as you would expect. And some of those fights would get ugly. Real ugly. I remember one in particular. He came home drunk and uh remember this. I don't remember everything about it because I didn't witness it, but I heard it.
Mm.
And you can imagine. I'm not going to go into details because those details I don't know for sure, but I know what I heard. And I know I saw him storm out of the room and kick the closet door off the hinges. And if you're angry enough, and Dale isn't a big dude, but if you're angry enough to kick a closet door so hard that it flies off its hinges, you can kind of draw your own conclusions about what happened behind those closed doors. And I know how he treated Eric,
Mm.
our older brother. We have different dads. Dale adopted Eric when he was 3. Um, did not treat him well at all. It's physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, you name it, man. You name it, Eric dealt with it. And it's hard to reconcile, honestly.
Yeah.
My relationship with Eric and my relationship with Dale. Like, in one way, I feel like I'm betraying Eric by having a relationship with Dale, but then at the same time, I feel like I'm betraying Dale, not having a relationship with him. It's a weird situation, and I don't think it's unique at all. I think there's probably a lot of
Mm,
families out there who feel the same way. Um, you get pulled in different directions, and I'm not trying to like woe is me or whatever. I'm just trying to put it in terms where my experience may intersect with someone else's,
mm,
because there are a lot of people out there, and this is why I want to have this discussion, because the more we talk about it, the more light is shed on
yep.
the subject, and if we can bring one person out of the shadows, eh, that'll be it'll be worth it. Telling our own stories, even though it's
Mm,
difficult. And I alluded to earlier, we've dealt with this in our professional life. Back, working at the hospital, how many of our patients would come
mm,
in uh, from both sides of the issue. Honestly, some of them would be 302 by the police to get them away from their
mm,
spouse or whoever else. So they're, or some of the victims would be. I hate the word victim. I hate the word survivor. I'm not sure there's any word out there that adequately describes the um, person on the receiving end, for lack of a better term, of domestic violence, because I think either of those terms have a negative connotation.
yeah.
So, for lack of, I don't even know what to call them, but so the person on the receiving sounds so, and it sounds so, to say the person on the receiving end sounds so sterile and cold. Like, I don't know what the word is, and if anybody's out there listening and does, please tell me, because I struggle with saying victim, survivor, whatever. Um, but for lack of better, for the purposes of this episode, we'll just say survivor, because
Yeah.
that's the most, I don't want to say empowering term, but it's the least negative of the
Mm,
three, I think. So we would see survivors come in, um, and we'd see the effect it had on them. And you know, work living in the Springport area, we remember Julianne Siller,
yeah.
the 16-year-old Springport student who
Mm,
was brutally murdered by her boyfriend. And that's another, like, not to get off on a out of order here, but um, teen dating violence is another huge issue
mm,
that needs light shed on it. And to her credit, her parents, or not her credit, but like to um, her parents have done what they can to. They used to do, I'm not sure if they still do the Julian's Journey event where they had like a 5K or whatever to raise awareness for the issue. There is another that I haven't had been able to meet him yet, but Bill Mitchell, he's his family is from Maryland, and their daughter Kristen was a student at St. Joe's, and she lived in Conshohocken. And back in on June 3rd, 2005, she was brutally murdered by her boyfriend. I guess who she'd broken up with. Um, but her parents also do great work through the Kristen Mitchell Foundation. You can find them on Facebook. Um, Bill Mitchell, her father, has a podcast called When Dating Hurts. He wrote a book of the same name. You can find that on Amazon. They do great work. Some of these families that I've seen over the years through my work on, in government, my work for the courts, just seeing them go through these unimaginable things and coming out and just doing great work to keep their loved one's memory alive, to keep, to other people from going through the same things. It's just, if you ever want a case study in courage, it's that.
yeah.
Um, and then there's so the one of the organizations I wanted to highlight here in this episode is Laurel House. They are Montgomery County's comprehensive agency for domestic violence shelter outreach. Um, they're just an incredible nonprofit organization who do such great work for our community here in Montgomery County. Um, I've had the pleasure of getting to know a lot of their staff and a lot of the people that they've helped over the years. So the reason we're doing this episode this week is because this weekend, Saturday, May 4th, is their annual Walk a Mile in Her Shoes fundraiser. And this is a um, an event I'm not able to do it this year, unfortunately, but it's such an amazing event. Uh, I believe it's their largest fundraiser that they have every year. They have a few, but I think this one's probably the biggest, where the entire community comes together essentially, all walks of life, and they do this event on the Pfizer campus in Collegeville off of Route 29. It's a 1 mile walk where men are asked to walk a mile in high heels. And it's just so cool to see. Preston Elliott from the Preston and Steve show is MC every year. Most of the years I've done this, Steve Morrison has been there, uh, Nick McElwain, and a few of the other personalities from the show. They'll all they'll all do it. Preston MCs the event. Um, there's any walk of life you can think of comes together and does this. Victims' families who were not here to, as I like to put it, walk for themselves. They do in their memory, and to raise awareness and fund, nonprofits and uh, police departments, fire departments, local elected officials, county elected officials, state reps, senators. A lot of them take part in this event every year, and it's such an empowering event for the community, for people who this issue is close to their hearts. And one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, um, is some of the people who Laura House has helped speak at this event and tell their stories. It's just I, a few years ago, a woman spoke at the event, and she came to Laurel House to escape the abuse of her husband. Um, he sent her to the emergency room with a broken skull one night, and that opened up an investigation, which uncovered years and years and years of unimaginable abuse of her and her children at the hands of her husband and their father. He's now serving essentially a life sentence in state prison because of her strength and her courage, and not to take anything away from her, but because of the support Laura House gave her, helped her
Yeah.
file the PFA and protected her and escorted her to court. So a lot of times these people go to file a PFA, you're going to have a hearing, and you're going to have to face the person you're accusing, or I should say your abuser, in
Yeah.
court. And a lot of victims of domestic violence have been over the years isolated from their support systems, their family, their friends, whoever else. So a lot of these people are left with no one to call upon, or they feel like they can't. So Laura House will send advocates to court with these people where they feel empowered and protected, and it gives them the support that they could use to. So to watch these people get up there and tell their stories about such traumatic events, I wish I one day aspired to have that level of courage that it takes to do that,
Mhm.
because I'm not sure that I could. Um, I'm not even sure what else to say.
Yeah.
Just some of these people who can live through horrors that most of us can't
Mhm.
even imagine, and come out the other side strong, or sometimes stronger,
Mhm.
empowered even. It's just such a sight to behold. So I really regret that I can't be there this year, because it's just an amazing, beautiful event. But I'll give you a little bit of information about Laurel House. If you want to get involved in the future, their website is laurel-house.org. If you or anyone you know is experiencing domestic violence and needs help, they have a 24-hour hotline you can call. It's 1-800 642 3150. And this is one of the things that's really great is that oftentimes you're afraid to, some people are afraid to use the phone. They have a text line also. It's Hope, HOPE, to 85511. You can send a text where you can be, you don't have to be heard. It's non-verbal, obviously. Uh, Laura Haas has been at this for 44 years now, and they've they've just such great work, and they've changed the lives of so many people over the years,
Mm,
um, hundreds a year, especially what we're coming through right now. A few years removed from the pandemic when
yeah.
so many people are out of work, and that's the kind of event that can really cause a spike in this kind of
Mm,
thing. But you don't have to go through a once in a century pandemic for it'll spike over the holidays.
mm,
The economy turns south, jobs job losses happen. That's another thing that causes a spike. So it's always great to have these organizations. And Laura House isn't by any means the only one in the Philadelphia area. I'm telling their story because it's the one that I have the most experience with.
yeah.
You can find and don't I don't want to say if you were someone is going through this, like it's not that easy.
Mm,
Sometimes it takes years and years and years. Or like the story I mentioned earlier, one major catalyst for this stuff to come to light. But the more we talk about it, the more we break the stigma, the more
mm,
we um, help people come out of the shadows, help people shed light on this very difficult topic to talk about. Um, it's you know one of my favorite historical figures is Robert F. Kennedy, and he once said that each time someone stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, they send forth a tiny ripple of hope. And each time someone, this is not his quote, but I ended the quote there. Um, each time somebody stands up for or talks about this, they send forth that tiny ripple of hope. And the end of the quote
yeah.
is, and those ripples can build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. And I 100% believe that about this issue and so many others. Some of the mental health stuff we talked about in previous episodes. So if you're listening to this and you want to get involved, reach out, man. Reach out to us. We can point you in the right direction. Reach out to Laura House if you're not local to Montgomery County. I'm sure you can. We will help you out. Laura House will probably be able to find an adjacent agency in whatever area you're from. Again, not to pat ourselves on the back here, but like this is an issue that needs to be brought to light. It needs to
Mm,
be talked about. We can all be that tiny ripple of hope. And
yeah, for sure.
I don't even know what else to say, man.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to end this one, or anything else to add?
No, I think I think so. Um, yeah, I have nothing.
Yeah,
It's
it's so hard to even like we talk about a
like,
lot of light stuff on this, a lot of funny stuff, but so it's hard to
yeah,
to
everybody loves to laugh,
yeah.
but
When
this
we
is,
do episodes like this, it's always awkward to find a landing spot for it
mm,
because you know my main uh thing is always to say, like try to say something funny.
mm,
Um, and a lot of times it's a defense mechanism, I suppose.
yeah,
But it's my it's always my main instinct to try to say something funny, but like I don't think that would fit here. So I guess we're just gonna have to give you an awkward ending, more
yeah.
awkward than usual, I guess. So drive
Drive safe.
safe, be good people. Never get that right.
Yeah. Just in case that's not where we wanted to end.
I thought that went much better than the first one.
Yeah. Um,
Like the Bobby Kennedy.
it's just one thing that I want to add, but I didn't ever feel right to add because it's such a touchy subject. Like domestic violence is a touchy subject to begin with, but like I think like the Laurel House is such a good organization because they have step one, step two. Like this is they know the routes to take. And most people who don't seek, from what I understand or what I think I know about the process, is they go, oh, well, I'll just go and get a PFA and that'll be it. Well, one, it's not that easy. And two, it's just an order.
I did say that in the
And
earlier in the first episode where they'll walk you through the process.
yeah. And,
But I did give out the website, so maybe they can
mm,
do their own
but,
research.
no, but what I'm saying is the benefit of reaching out to a Laura House type agency. We're still recording, by the way.
Oh shit, my bad. I didn't know that.
That's all right. So I can cut this here, but I think what I'm trying
No,
to,
let it roll because that's actually a good point that I forgot to bring up.
yeah,
It's the
because reaching out to an agency like our houses, they know exactly what steps to take and when. And if you don't, you run the risk of just going in that PFA and thinking that's enough. Well,
yeah, that's true. That's a good
to the
point.
abuser, I can tell you from my experience in EMS, you know how many assault victims I had who had a PFA. It doesn't matter. You need to take step one, yes, PFA, sure, that's the legal process, but step two is advocacy and support system and
Yeah,
all that shit. Making sure people accountability. You get, I assume you get a caseworker who will be in contact with you regularly. Hey, how are things? It's so much more than just a shelter.
yeah.
Like a lot of people liken it to a shelter, but no, it's
Yeah,
so much more than that.
yeah.
And
Oftentimes, people do think that the because you never know. Everyone knows about what a PFA is in the
mm,
abstract, but you're right. People don't. I see it all the time at work. People come into our office. We do criminal cases. We have nothing to do with PFAs. Um, so people don't understand the process of filing one and what happens next.
mm,
And so Laurel House is one of those organizations that will help you with the process. And they'll make sure that you're not left behind
yep.
or fall through the cracks of the system. And I'm sure there are, like we said earlier, a lot more organizations out there that will provide similar support.
Mm,
So
yeah. So like like Matt said earlier, if you or someone you know, it's such a TV thing to say, but it's true. Like reach out to, even if you're reaching out for a friend, just
yeah,
get that
well,
ball rolling of
even if you're not, how about this? You never know when
mhm,
this issue will come creep into your doorstep, to yours or someone you
that
love.
too. Yeah.
So it couldn't hurt, and that's what another thing Laura House does is provide community outreach and education about this stuff,
Mhm,
because you just never know when it could affect you. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
yeah.
So go out there, check out Laurel House's website again, laurel-house.org.
And we'll link that in the
Yeah, definitely.
description of this and on our socials as well.
Yep. Um, check them out. Get involved if you can or want to. Or I know it's not easy for anyone just
Mhm.
to,
Yeah,
you
just
know,
willy nilly go
yeah.
and do it. But
But the great thing about that is that there's a lot of different ways to get involved.
yeah.
You can just do the once a year and support the Welcome Mile. They have a gala event every year. They have drag show bingos and all kinds of different things you can get involved with. You can do. Um, and you know what? You could just be like me and you think you're doing a one off and you get sucked, not sucked. That's a bad way to put it because I don't feel that way at all. I love this organization and I love um, the Walk a Mile stuff. Um, who knows, man? That could be a lifelong um, issue or cause for you,
Mhm.
like it has become for me. So, yeah, check them out. And if you're not in the immediate Montgomery County area, like we said, reach out. We'll help you. We'll point you in the right direction and find one that
Mhm.
is in your area that you can get involved with. So,
Yep.
anything else?
I think now's the good time.
All right, try this again. Drive safe. Be good, people.